We humans are deeply dependent on relationships. Our ability to survive and truly thrive depends heavily on our relationships. On the one hand, this is beautiful because it can make us masters of connection, but on the other hand, it can also plunge us into deep unhappiness. A particularly destructive relationship pattern is so-called negative loyalty, and that's exactly what this video is about. What is negative loyalty? Negative loyalty means you remain emotionally loyal to someone, usually someone close to you, such as a parent or caregiver, even though it harms you and you know it deep down. It can manifest itself in countless forms, such as sabotaging your own success in order not to put yourself above your family, a particular family member, or perhaps even a friend. Or you cling to self-doubt. You cling to your own self-doubt because that's how you felt close as a child. Because you learned as a child that if you doubted yourself, didn't trust yourself to do something or couldn't do something, you received attention or understanding that felt like love and affection to you, and thus also validation. Or that you keep yourself small so as not to cast a shadow on others because you don't want to belittle them. Another example is that you consciously and intentionally remain nice and good because you learned that otherwise you would experience rejection, that others wouldn't accept you for who you are, and that you might even be rejected by others. And do you know what the crazy thing about all this is? You're not the only person who might identify with the patterns mentioned here, because in fact most people carry at least one of the negative loyalty patterns mentioned above, and very often without even realizing it. Perhaps here's a small example for you. If, for example, you grow up with parents who held you back, then it's subliminally as if they're telling you you are not good enough. This is the message that the child stores in their subconscious and that shapes their entire life. And so it happens that years later, this child still believes that if they stay small, they will remain safe and loved because they won't be vulnerable. Even if this isn't true, this belief has become ingrained over the years, and any improvement in their self-esteem will be like a betrayal of this old bond with their parents. Do you perhaps already recognize your own pattern? As a little help for your own reflection on whether you yourself have such a negative loyalty pattern, you can ask yourself the following questions. What in my life isn't good for me, and to whom am I perhaps still loyal as a result? What would happen if I changed? Who might be disappointed or angry with me? To whom did I have to be loyal as a child at the expense of my own truth? Many of our so-called self-sabotage patterns are actually hidden vows of loyalty that we make unconsciously in order not to be excluded or unloved. So it's worth taking a questioning look behind our own behavioral patterns, often in everyday life when we feel like we're not acting entirely authentically. What's the reason in such moments? Negative loyalty, or also called self-sabotage, keeps us small, as individuals, as a society, as a whole species. But you have the power to change that. You can choose anew. How do you want to show your loyalty without losing yourself? When you recognize this, real change begins. And remember, loyalty doesn't mean sacrificing yourself.